Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I've been married a long time. I have, man. You know, I talk a lot of shit about my wife, but I love her very much. In fact, you know, you guys wouldn't believe this about me. I'm a jealous husband. It's true. Yeah, let me tell you something. One time I thought my wife was cheating on me. Yes, nigga, yes. That was one of the worst days of my fucking life. I couldn't take it. And I'm embarrassed about it now, but I can talk about it. You know what I did? It's fucked up, but I did do this. I waited. I waited for her to fall asleep. And when I waited a long time, she's Asian. I couldn't tell if she was asleep or not. I was looking at her. And when I was sure she was asleep, you know what I did? I stole the iPhone, took it downstairs and started trying out passwords to see if I could open it. I couldn't figure out the password. Then I remembered it's an iPhone. This shit has facial recognition. I was just like, oh. And that shit opened right up. And I saw a text message in there from a fella named Earl. I don't know anybody named Earl. I woke her up out of her sleep. I said, wake the fuck up. Who the fuck is Earl? And she said, David, what are you talking about? Oh, don't you play dumb with me, bitch. I done opened your phone. Who is Earl? And she said, oh my God, David. That's gay Earl from the hair salon. I said, word, what am I, a dummy? How am I supposed to know this nigga is gay? And she was calm. She said, read his text and look at his pictures. I started reading the text. This fella sure does spell girl with a U a lot. And I switched over and looked at his pictures, and I couldn't believe it. This fella looked gay and still pictures. His mouth was open in every shot. And then I knew she was telling the truth. And then I felt like dumb. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Here, take your phone. I'm sorry, just go back to sleep. All right, I'm sorry. I guess I just been insecure because all this cheating I've been doing. Good night. And she didn't let me leave. She said, well, since you want to wake a bitch up, and then she pulled my phone from under her pillow. I said, what the fuck? She said, who is this bitch in this picture? I said, how'd you open that phone? She said, it was easy, nigga. All I had to do was mash my nose and go like this, and it opened right up. I said, what the fuck? She said, who is this bitch? I said, give me that. Oh, girl, relax. That ain't no bitch. This is my friend, Deborah. Well, I have some very bad news for the people in the front rows. I heard that some of you paid as much as $800 for your tickets. Sadly, I did this same show a couple weeks ago in Atlanta for $60 a head. Can you imagine? Nigga, you could have flown to Atlanta, got a hotel, had some dinner, and came back and you still have a little money left over, niggas. Paid way too much just to see me in this gay-ass neighborhood. All right, let me roll up my sleeves and tell these pussy jokes. Will told me to say there hasn't been this many pussy references in this room since Cats was here. Boy, I gotta tell you, man, I've been doing this set all week, and boy, I've been telling these jokes, and sometimes niggas look like they're in actual pain over the jokes. None of it's that bad to me, but I understand why it could hurt some people's feelings. So tonight, I'm going to give you an opportunity that I rarely give anybody. I'm going to let you say whatever it is you need to say to my face, or ask me whatever it is you want to know. But there are no dumb questions allowed. If you ask a stupid question, you'll be asked to leave. Nah, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Everyone relax. Come on. Oh, yes, sir, in the front.
2 questions. How often do you write? And can I have a cigarette?
All right. First, you may have a cigarette, but remember, this is not jail, motherfucker. This lady right here.
I have a question. Do you remember this scene?
Oh, I do remember that. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. That's a terrible question. This gentleman in the front with the salmon-colored shirt on.
I was wondering if you had any advice for young comedians that you generally give, and
Are you thinking of doing comedy?
I've never done it before, but watching you has made me want to try it.
I don't know if that's an insult or not.
It's a compliment. It's.
I mean, niggas don't say that. I've never done brain surgery, but it looked a lot easier than I thought. I'm teasing. All right, here'd be my advice. Okay, I don't know how comedians start nowadays, right? But what I would suggest is just start. And once you start, you can't really stop, no matter what happens, no matter how bad it gets, no matter what people say. You know what I mean? Because comedy is weird like that. You know why I hate watching other comedians do comedy? Not because I hate other comedians, but because I love comedy so much. It's like watching somebody else fuck your girl. And I say, fuck her better than that. Yes, you on the aisle up there, the lady with the long... Yes, you standing up. I see you. My favorite book of all time, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. That guy with the baseball hat.
Marry, fuck, kill, Michelle, Rihanna, Oprah.
Wait, who's Michelle? Oh, Obama. Well, sir, you're putting me in quite a pickle. I can't say I'll fuck Michelle Obama. That's insane. Well, I guess I mean, because I wouldn't kill any of those women, but I'd fuck all 3 of them. The gentleman in the blue Oxford standing up.
Tell us the story with Charlie Murphy.
Tell a story about Charlie Murphy?
Or your favorite.
Boy, there's so many good Charlie Murphys. You know, the thing with Charlie Murphy is he used to just make us laugh all the time. And I used to ask him about all the old Hollywood shit I was curious about. Like when they used to accuse Michael Jackson, I remember asking once, I go, Charlie, do you think Michael Jackson actually did those things? And he said, let me ask you a question, Dave. He said, say it is illegal to fuck women. How long are you staying out of jail? So God bless Charlie Murphy wherever you are. Charlie, I love you.
Who do you think is going to win the 2020 election?
All right, I'm going to put a pin in this, but I'll tell you right now, fella, I don't know, but I think Trump has a better shot than a lot of people would like to think. I'm just saying, it all depends on how the left talks. The way we're talking is not going to win the fucking ball game. Donald Trump's over there on the right, grabbing handfuls of pussy. Joe Biden can't even smell hair over here. Fuck this side. All right, man, go ahead.
Thank you so much for this show. And
how old are you?
25.
25? Yeah. Boy, don't let R. Kelly see you. He's gonna pee on you by accident. Oh, my bad. I thought you was 15. Yuck. I'm totally joking. I'm sorry.
My question is there anything you've learned from another comedian that you feel like will stay with you for life?
I tell you what, miss, that's a good question. Yes, is the short answer. A longer version of it is this. I was raised by comedians. I started doing stand-up when I was 14. The other day, I went to a comedian's funeral, and I realized we was putting this motherfucker in the ground, that these people are at least as influential to me as my family. I rock with these niggas till the wheel falls off. We fight and we fuss and we are jealous of each other and we get mad at each other, but my life wouldn't have been what it was without each and every one of them, and I consider them my family. That's yours. Still hadn't figured out exactly how to say what I wanted to say, but I was doing pretty good, and I was doing some Me Too jokes, and a woman stood up from the audience and she was crying. Clearly, it was a white woman. She says to me, you can't say that. It's 200 seat room, it's a very small room. I'm like, what the fuck are you, like, miss, are you okay? What are you doing? She says, you can't say that. I said, yes, I can, it's my show. I'll say whatever the fuck I want. The crowd's like, ooh, like this. And then she gets up from the table and she starts making a big like show of just pushing through the aisles and all this stuff. And there's like a curtain right before the front door. And she gets to the curtain and she's crying. It's fucking crazy. She says, I'm sorry I was raped. It's a fucking comedy club. It's like loud farting getting out of an elevator. Nothing funny can happen in here. Now I'm trapped in a room with this woman's fucking stink. And I say, miss, it is not your fault that you were raped, but it's not mine either. Ta-ta, bitch, like this. She storms out. Now the room is very uncomfortable, but I managed to get the crowd back, but I'm like, a little traumatized. Same show, there's a trans woman sitting in the audience. This is a true story. This was like a few weeks ago. I did 6 shows that weekend. This trans woman came to 4 of them. Calls herself Daphne. Man, this chick Daphne was in there cracking the fuck up at everything I said about everybody. It was amazing. She was laughing, and it was fun to watch her laugh. You could tell she was letting go with something that was heavy, and she'd throw her head back, and she'd smile with all her teeth. She was having a great time. And the more fun she had, I felt bad, because I knew I had some trans jokes to unload. And I thought to myself, maybe I shouldn't say these jokes, because I don't want to, fuck her evening up. She's having so much fun. But then I thought to myself, well, if I can't say it in front of her, should I say this shit at all? So I let her rip. To my surprise, Daphne laughed harder at the trans jokes than anybody in the room. In fact, everybody in the room would look at her to make sure it was okay. And I got off stage, I was in the dressing room, I was like, man, this is a fucking weird show. I'm sitting in the dressing room by myself just trying to figure out, what the fuck just happened out there? Why is it that this one woman can't take any of these jokes and Daphne can take all of these jokes? So weird. And then I realized, Daphne used to be a man. So now I go out of the dressing room and you can see all the staff is there cleaning the club up. The audience had gone. And sitting at the bar by herself was Daphne. And she's like, hey, Dave, come join me for a drink. And I don't want her to think that I'm transphobic or nothing. So I'm like, fuck, I guess I could have at least a drink. And we get some tequila and we're sitting there. And she was fucking cool. Turns out that Daphne, she wants to be a comedian. She was asking me for advice, and I told her advice and all that shit. And then she says to me, boy, you sure do get a bad rap for your trans jokes. I said, Daphne, thank you, but you don't have to say that. I hope I didn't offend you. She goes, no. She said, in fact, I read about you in the New York Times. I said, you did? She said, yeah. She said, I thought it was interesting that they blamed you for R. Kelly. They said you normalized him for telling jokes about him. I go, yeah, they said that. She goes, I wonder why they never said that you normalized transgenders by telling jokes about us. And I'd never thought about that. It never occurred to me. And we started making out. And then I reached up just to see what it felt like. I was like, what? And it felt like pussy, did it? It was just like, Go ahead, ask me a question.
What the fuck you gonna do if Trump get reelected?
What am I going to do if Trump gets reelected? Probably get a significant tax break. Hey, you want to know why I don't even talk about Trump in my show? Because that motherfucker is not the hokey pokey. He is not what it's all about. There's millions of people that put him in power, and the ideas that he puts forth are not his own. He's singing poor white people's greatest hits. So why the fuck would I worry about him and not the other millions? Really, you know who I'm going to vote for next time if things keep going the way it's going is that gay dude. No, Mike Pence. It's a safe place where I could tell some jokes. And I find out that this comedian I know, Chris Tucker, who's in all those Rush Hour movies, I find out that Chris is in San Francisco too at some charity event. So I call him, I'm like, yo, I just saw you at some charity event. I said, I'm doing a show at the Punchline. Why don't you come by the club after your event? He's like, cool, Dave. I thought you was dead, nigga. I'll come by. He says, is it okay if I bring some friends? Because, you know, I'm with a lot of people. I go, man, you Chris Tucker. You can bring whoever the fuck you want. And then I show up to the club late that night. I walk into the dressing room, and sitting in the dressing room is Gavin Newsom, who at the time was the mayor of San Francisco, but now he's the governor of California. And sitting next to him was Kamala Harris, who at the time was the DA of San Francisco. Now she's the senator from California that's front running on the Democratic ticket. And sitting next to her was Al Gore. It's fucking weird. And sitting next to Al Gore was the guys from Google, Sergey, and I don't know how to say these. All right. And it was Chris Tucker and Ben Jealous, who at the time was the president of the NAACP, who was all just at this big charity dinner, and Paul Mooney was drinking scotch. And we all was just in there. And, you know, at first I was a little uncomfortable when we started talking, and we all got along really well. Well, at some point, Kamala Harris she says to me, she goes, you know, a friend of mine is announcing his candidacy for president tomorrow. I went to college with him. I'm like, what? I go, Barack Obama? She goes, you've heard of him? I'm like, yo, I just read about this dude. And she goes, yo, yeah, blah, 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 we talking. She goes, you know what? She says, let's call him on the phone. I said, what the fuck? And she picks the phone up and she dials and she's listening like this. And she goes, this is voicemail. And she gives me the phone. She goes, leave him a message. You know, I didn't know what to say. I just said what you say to any black dude that's running for president. You know, stay low, running a zigzag pattern, this kind of shit. And then the last thing I say is, you know what? I said, sir, I really do believe you can do this. Like, man, I'm wishing you luck. Now, next day I wake up and go for coffee at a place called the Embarcadero. It's like an eatery by the sea in San Francisco. And I'm walking to the coffee shop and there's a police line and I can't cross the tape. But then I figure, fuck it, I'm Dave Chappelle, so I go into the thing like this. And the police yoke me. These motherfuckers like tackle me immediately. And I see over the police's shoulder Gavin Newsom. I couldn't remember his name, but I remember the night before I had kept teasing him and saying he looked like Christian Bale, the guy from the Batman movies. So I see him and I can't remember the name, so I'm just like, Batman, help! And he stops, he's like, Dave? And then the police see that the mayor knows me, so they're all like, oh, sorry about that. And he's like, hey, back up, everybody. And he just picks me up. He's like, I'm really sorry about that. I'm like, I'm fine, don't worry about it. And he's like, listen, I'm here with Prince. Would you like to meet him? I'm like, I know Prince. That's my nigga. And We go around the corner, and it was Prince Charles, the Prince of England. I didn't know the protocol of meeting royalty, and not supposed to touch him. I dapped him up like a nigga. My nigga. Ah! Just hugging him and shit like this, dapping him up. Like this. And that nigga was cool, too. I was like, that's really fucking weird. And then I was just out there in the upside down, not having no TV show, trying to figure life out. And the election was going on in the background. And this guy, Barack Obama, was picking up steam. This motherfucker was killing it. And I had a chance to go to the last debate on the Democratic ticket. And I went. It's me and Chris Tucker sitting in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It's the last three candidates. It was Barack Obama, John Edwards, and Hillary Clinton. Now, Obama's a lot taller than Edwards and Clinton, and he had the center podium. And at one point, they're all on stage, and they start fussing, and Obama goes, look, none of us are perfect, like this. And his hands was like this, and there was light shining behind his head, and the other two candidates was looking up at the nigga, and I was sitting in the audience like, this nigga looks like Jesus. And I realized in that moment that I was looking at the next president of the United States. I was certain of it. I couldn't explain it, but I knew what I was seeing. And I got really excited. And I'm not that kind of guy. I said, I gotta meet this motherfucker. So I stayed. They were all on stage doing interviews, and I just waited. I was waiting and waiting. And then John Edwards was done with his interviews first, because everybody knew he wasn't gonna win. And I see John Edwards, and I said, hey, Senator Edwards, I just want to say hi. And that motherfucker looked at me like, I'm like, fuck you, nigga, you gonna lose anyway. And then he left, and then Hillary Clinton just walked by me in one of them Steve Harvey suits. But Obama was taking forever. Everybody wanted to talk to him. When I knew the media saw exactly what I saw, there was no question about it. That was the guy. I waited, and finally, must have been over an hour and a half, he finishes his last interview. He's like, well, thank you very much. Good talking to you. And he turns around, and we make eye contact. He sees me, and when he sees me, he looks over, he goes, Dave Chappelle. And Obama did me the same way I did Prince Charles. He dapped me up. And he like bro hugged me, and he pulled me in, and I'll never forget this. He said in my ear, I got your message. Thank you very much, New York City. Thank you very much for being here. But before I start tonight, I just wanted to read a brief statement that I prepared. I denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms. And I stand with my friends in the Jewish community. And that, Kanye, is how you buy yourself some time. I gotta tell you guys, I've probably been doing this 35 years now. And early in my career, I learned that there are two words in the English language that you should never say together in sequence. And those words are the and Jews. I've never heard someone do good after they said that. Kanye's gotten into some scrapes before. Normally when he's in trouble, I pull up immediately. But this time I was like, you know what? Let me see what's going to happen first. I just want to see where this is all going. I can't even remember how it started. Vaguely, I remember it started with a tweet, strange tweet. It was like, I'm feeling a little sleepy. I'm going to give me some rest, but when I wake up, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on the Jews. And then he just went to bed. I was up all night worried. What is he going to do to the Jews? I grew up around Jewish people. I have a lot of Jewish friends. So I'm not freaked out by your culture. I know a little bit about it just from hanging around. I'd be like, yo, let's go out at school tomorrow. They'd be like, we can't go out. It's Shana tomorrow. I'd be like, what is Shana? I had so many questions. Why do some of your people dress like Run DMC? Kanye woke up from that nap, he went right to work. A year ago, I'd seen him on a podcast called Drink Champs, a great show, and it was an amazing appearance. Noriega and them were there, the rappers that I love, and they all had their gold chains and stuff on. And Kanye said, only millionaires wear chains. They said, what? He said, I'm a billionaire. Billionaires don't wear their money on their body. I tucked my chain and I said, oh, snap. That's right. It was a good appearance. It was fun and funny. But when he woke up, he went on Drink Champs again. This time, he was on one. He was mad about something. He said, I can say anti-Semitic things, and Adidas can't drop me. Now what? Adidas dropped that nigga immediately. Ironically, Adidas was founded by Nazis. And they were offended. I guess the student had surpassed the teacher. It's a big deal. He had broken the show business rules. This is a rule. You know, the rules of perception. If they're black, then it's a gang. If they're Italian, it's a mob. But if they're Jewish, it's a coincidence, and you should never speak about it. Kanye got in so much trouble, Kyrie got in trouble. Kyrie Irving posted a link to a movie that he had seen on Amazon. No caption on the post or nothing like that. But apparently this movie had some, I don't know, anti-Semitic tropes or something. And it was some weird title like From Hebrew to Negro or something. And the NBA told me he should apologize. And he was slow to apologize. And then the list of demands to get back in their good graces got longer and longer. And this is where, you know, I draw the line. I know the Jewish people have been through terrible things all over the world, but you can't blame that on black Americans. You just can't. You know what I mean? Thanks to the one person that said that. A fair punishment would be he should just post a link to Schindler's List and y'all write your own captions. Kyrie Irving's black ass was nowhere near the Holocaust. In fact, he's not even certain it existed. I saw one news pundit screaming about Kanye. She said, mental health is no excuse for that type of language. Yes, it is, bitch. You can kill somebody if you're mentally ill. Listen, okay, I don't think Kanye is crazy at all. I think he's possibly not well. Well, I've been to Hollywood. I don't want y'all to get mad at me. I'm just telling you. I've been to Hollywood. This was just what I saw. It's a lot of Jews. Like a lot. But that didn't mean anything. You know what I mean? There's a lot of black people in Ferguson, Missouri. Doesn't mean we run the place. I could see if you had some kind of issue, you know what I mean? You might go out to Hollywood and your mind might start connecting some kind of lines and you could maybe adopt the delusion that the Jews run show business. It's not a crazy thing to think. But it's a crazy thing to say out loud in a climate like this. Now the midterms are over, and it's crazy climate. And I got to tell you, I feel like this midterm, like all of humanity, depends on it. And it's an ominous sign. The most ominous sign of the midterms, I believe, would be Herschel Walker, who I don't want to speak badly of because he's black. But I have to admit, he's observably stupid. Even when he's not talking, his mouth be open a little bit like. He's the kind of guy that looks like he thinks before he makes a move on tic-tac-toe. And I'm watching the news now, they're declaring the end of the Trump era. Now, okay, I can see how in New York you might believe this is the end of his era. I'm just being honest with you. I live in Ohio amongst the poor whites. A lot of you don't understand why Trump was so popular, but I get it, because I hear it every day. He's very loved. And the reason he's loved is because people in Ohio have never seen somebody like him. He's what I call an honest liar. Well, I'm not joking right now. He's an honest liar. That first debate, I'd never seen anything like it. I've never seen a white male billionaire screaming at the top of his lungs, "This whole system is rigged," he said. And across the stage was a white woman, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, sitting over there looking at him like, "No, it's not." I said, "Now, wait a minute, bro. It's what he said." And the moderator said, "Well, Mr. Trump, if in fact the system is rigged, as you suggest, what would be your evidence?" You remember what he said, bro? He said, "I know the system is rigged because I use it." I said, "God damn." And then he pulled out an Illuminati membership card and chopped a line of cocaine up and did it right into the podium. No one had ever heard someone say something that true. And then Hillary Clinton tried to punch him in the taxes. She said, "This man doesn't pay his taxes." He shot right back. "That makes me smart."
Dave Chappelle.
Thank you. Oh boy, I'm very nervous. No pressure. During the Civil Rights Movement, I can't read what's on the teleprompter. Some about Black America and white America. There's Black Americans and there's white Americans. We're all one America. So if you don't mind, this is not live, is it? I imagine whatever I say, you could just edit it out. Let's try it a few ways. Lou, are you in the booth?
I am.
All right, good. You know what, Lou? Let's just play around with it and see if we can get it right and get this clip package on, and then let me go home. All right?
You got it.
All right.
Ready?
All right. Count me in.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wu-Tang. I'm just with you, Lou. Let's do it again. We're gonna do it again. We'll get it right.
Here we go, Dave. 5, 4, 3, 2.
You know, when I was a comedian starting out in Washington, D.C., right here in this city, 1988, I'll never forget this. It was a comedy club owner that banned profanity from his comedy club. He said it offended his audience, and this was a cause of major concern for all the comedians in the circuit. And we all called a meeting, and we had the owners come, and it was the club owners, and it was the comedians. It was the classic labor dispute. The club owners laid out their case. There cannot be profanity in these clubs because that offends people. And there's a comedian who's still a good friend of mine to this day. He lives right here in Washington, D.C. He stood up. And he said, he's black, I should tell you, because it's important to the story. He says, "I use profanity because I live a profane lifestyle." He says, "I don't have an insect infestation in my house. I have roaches." Man, I gotta tell you, when I was sitting here watching what all the other honorees have done with their lives, I started feeling like shit. Like, this is terrible. And then Bobo brought me up and started out good with that Ali picture, and then it just... Whew. But that coloring book that was in the picture, I know the Ali's are here, that coloring book, my mother has it. And Champ, he signed it. You know, the greatest, he signed it, Muhammad Ali. And his sparring partner was there that day. And his sparring partner signed it, said, the next heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes. And he was. And 2-year-old Dave Chappelle colored all in that shit and just ruined the book. But I remember part of the book that I remember real vividly, because I asked my mother about it when I was a kid. There's a part where there's a picture of Ali throwing his Olympic gold medal into the Ohio River. That's why it's so weird for me being here. You know, both my parents were very brilliant. My dad went to Brown in 1955. That's right. He told me at the time he was one of 3 black students. He said one of the guys got accused of a rape that he probably didn't commit. And the other guy killed himself, and Dad said, and I left. And see, that's what makes us Chappelle's great. We know when to quit. We all just live to fight another day. I gotta say, I'm very honored to be here, and I'm very honored to be here with the other honorees. Really, I'm like very humbled by you all, the work that you do, and you all make me want to be better. All of you. And you know, I was gonna stop doing stand-up for a while because 4 comedy specials in a year is like, that's a lot, you know. But you know, shout out to my colleagues in comedy. I just want to say that in a way, this for me belongs to my mother primarily, who was an African American studies professor, and a lot of the content that I say, she raised me well. I'm not an uninformed person. But also, you know, my colleagues in comedy, like comedians have been getting beat up pretty bad recently, and we're somehow nowadays expected to speak with the precision of attorneys or politicians. We are not. I always think of James Baldwin. You know, James Baldwin was one of my favorite writers because he managed to tell white people what they feel like to be around. So I ain't gonna hang up my gloves yet. I think I got one more special in me. So to quote Baldwin, God gave Noah the rainbow sign. There's no more water, it's the fire next time. Thank you very much. Boy, this comes as a complete surprise. I mean, I read all the reviews, and they said so many terrible things. They were embarrassed for me. I had lost my way. It wasn't even worth watching. I hope all you critics learn from this. This is a teachable moment. Shut the fuck up forever. Two in a night. These aren't them. These are the ones I won for the other ones, motherfucker. I would like to thank my editor who was nominated. Unfortunately, he did not win, but I couldn't have been more honored to work with Jeff Urin. Stan Lathan has been directing television since 1968. Any show that I watched when I was growing up, he directed it. From Sesame Street to Sanford and Son, to good times, to everything black, and finally, you motherfuckers finally gave him an Emmy tonight. He deserves so much more, but I'm glad you came around. I'd like to shout out all the other nominees tonight. Tiffany Haddish and Patton Oswalt and Hannah Gatsby and Brother Mulaney. You guys are an inspiration to me, and I'm honored to be nominated with you. I'm sorry that you didn't win tonight, but who gives a fuck anyway? It's a special night because comedy gets to be itself. It's all we've ever wanted. I hope the war is over. We good? And as always, I'd love to thank my wife, Elaine. That's right. Elaine has been with me for the last 25 years and had to endure the pains of living with the greatest comedian ever. See you on Monday. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like not knowing what's going to happen. I like making memories. Sometimes I do all this crazy shit around my colleagues just so that they can tell their friends I did it. But rather than talk about myself, just briefly, I want to just talk about my genre. Stand-up comedy is an incredibly American genre. I don't think any other country could produce this many comedians. And unbeknownst to many people in this audience, I don't think there's opinion that it exists in this country that is not represented in a comedy club by somebody. Each and every one of you has a champion in the room. We watch you guys fight, but when we're together, we talk it out. I know comics that are very racist, and I watch them on stage, and everyone's laughing, and I'm like, that motherfucker means that shit. Don't get mad at them, don't hate them. We go upstairs and have a beer, and sometimes I even appreciate the artistry that they paint their racist opinions with. Man, it's not that serious. The First Amendment is first for a reason. The Second Amendment is just in case the first one doesn't work out. We gotta let some air out of the ball, man. The country's getting a little tight. It doesn't feel like it's ever felt in my lifetime. So tonight, I am honored that my colleagues are here in comedy and in music. And I want everyone in America right now to look at me. Look at me smoking indoors. I didn't ask anybody, I just did it. What are they gonna do? Kick me out before I get the prize? No, nigga, this is called leverage. The thing that I liked best about tonight was that I saw so many people from different parts of my life, like friends that I grew up with here in D.C., friends of mine from Ohio then and now, friends of mine from comedy clubs, all the fucking musicians that blew my mind. You guys have no idea how you inspired me. I want to give a special shout out to my OG, Tony Woods. Miles Davis has a quote. It's one of my favorite. Miles Davis said so much cool shit, but one of the things he said I always loved, he said, it took me years to learn how to play like myself. You know, he would watch other musicians and he would try to play like Dizzy or Bird, or all the guys who were great. Tony Woods was my Dizzy and Bird if I was a Miles. I was trying to play like you. You were the first person I ever saw do it absolutely right. You were fearless and you told the truth. There's something so true about this genre, when done correctly, that I will fight anybody that gets a true practitioner of this art form's way, because I know you're wrong. This is the truth, and you are obstructing it. I'm not talking about the content, I'm talking about the art form. Do you understand? Do we have an agreement? And what I really wanted to say tonight, and I'm glad I get the platform to do it, I'm gay. I am gay, and I can't wait to see what this does for my career, being gay like this. So many special shout outs. One of the main architects of the comeback of the century, my brother and my mentor, the mighty Stan Lathan. I never dreamed that I would be able to work with someone as great as you. These last 5 specials, straight fire. I wouldn't want to do another special with anybody else but you. So eat your motherfucking vegetables and live as long as you can, because we doing a few more of these bitches. Neil Brennan, your speech made me cry because it reminded me of all those hard days of work and all that money I never got for it. The other real special shout out I gotta make, because none of this would have been possible on any level without this person, is my mother. Mom. My mother. Mom. You have no idea what I put this woman through. If you had just given birth to me, that would have been more than enough. But the fact that she raised me and raised me well, we had a real oral tradition in our house. I knew the word griot when I was a little boy. A griot was a person in Africa who was charged with keeping the stories of the village. Everyone would tell a griot the stories, and they would remember them all so that they could tell future generations. And when they got old, they'd tell them to someone else. And they say in Africa, when a griot dies, it's like a library was burnt down. And my mother used to tell me, before I ever thought about doing comedy, she said, you should be a griot. And she'd fill me with every story of black life. You know, she's educated in African-American studies, and she would let me understand the context that I was being raised in, that I'm being raised in a hostile environment that I have to tame. By the time I was 14 years old, I was in nightclubs, mastering an adult world. It was terrifying. The crack epidemic was going on, and my mother would hear gunshots outside and be scared to death. Maybe it's my son. But early in my career, if you remember, Mom, you used to sit in the club with me. She'd do a full day of work. You'd be back there falling asleep, just waiting for me to go on. She would watch my show every night. Do you know how long that car ride is home? How many of you have ever heard your mother say, pussy jokes were a little too much tonight, son? I was a soft kid. I was sensitive, I'd cry easy, and I would be scared to fist fight. And my mother used to tell me this thing, I don't even know if you remember, but you said this to me more than once. You said, son, sometimes you have to be a lion so you can be the lamb you really are. I talk this shit like a lion. I'm not afraid of any of you. When it comes word to word, I will gab with the best of them, just so I can chill and be me. And that's why I love my art form, because I understand every practitioner of it. Whether I agree with them or not, I know where they're coming from. They want to be heard. They got something to say. There's something they notice. They just want to be understood. Love this genre. It saved my life. So tonight, Mom, I would like to honor you in a very special way that I cannot do on my own. But because now I'm a man with great and influential friends, I'd like to ask my man Thundercat to come out on the stage. Thundercat, the mighty Mos Def. Washington, D.C., thank you very much for giving me a home and a place to start. Today is officially Dave Chappelle Day in Washington, D.C. The mayor declared it last night. So, in the future, on Dave Chappelle Day, I ask everyone who wishes to celebrate it to make one incredible memory for themselves and or somebody else. Thank you very much. Good night. Thank you. You know, I speak for a living, and I'm a little nervous today. I wanted to say thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Bishop Green, and thank everyone at Allen University for hosting me today, because it feels special, right? When I think of this great-grandfather that I've heard about in my life, but never actually touched his legacy. So it's like the product of his loins coming to meet the product of his work. And it's an important day for me personally. And I know a lot of you guys are students, and I just want to tell you I'm the first person in my family to not go to college. And as the president has told you, I've done outstanding in spite of that. But one thing I did want to say, and one thing today just made me think about, for all the things that I've done, I'm most renowned for what I didn't do. I've made decisions in my career that a lot of people have called insane. 2004, had $50 million deal on the table, and in a crisis of conscience, flipped the table over and walked away. Went to South Africa. Everyone said I was running away from the money. That is not true. In fact, I still want that money. The idea that I wanted to just share with you guys is the idea that sometimes you do what you think is best, whether anybody understands it or not. I heard a story about my father where someone told me he used to do statistics for a company in DC. The company he did statistics for started doing business with the South African government, so he quit his job. It's caused a lot of problems between him and his wife. It's hard for a man when he can't provide for his family the way he wants to, and he suffered through it. And a generation later, when I had my crisis of conscience, I was able to go to a free South Africa and get away from the heat. This idea that what you do in your lifetime informs the generations that comes after you is something I keep thinking about, something that is so much bigger than just ourselves. And today I'm standing in front of you guys, and I know you guys are like, oh, I know you're bored. But I see family of mine in the front row some who I've never met, and I just realize how all of us are connected. That my great-grandfather built something more substantial than buildings. He built a community, and he built, more importantly than a community, he built a way. You know, so I'm very grateful. Very grateful. Hello, police. I just saw him saying, you know what I mean? He's standing over like, so this is what black people talk about. I just want you guys to remember, you know, that right now there's this thing where ethics aren't what they used to be. This idea that people are trying to replace the ideas of good and bad with better or worse. And that is incorrect. You gotta keep your ethics intact because good and bad is a compass that helps you find the way. And a person that only does what's better or worse is the easiest type of person to control. They are a mouse in a maze that just finds the cheese. But the one who knows about good and bad will realize that he's in a maze. So, that being said, I just hope that all of you guys transcend whatever you see as your obstacles, and that you live outstanding lives, and that you stay connected to your communities because you have so much power there, and that you grow your communities and you diversify your communities, and that you don't let anybody tell you you can't or to be afraid. It's okay to be afraid because you can't be brave or courageous without fear. The idea of being courageous is that even though you're scared, you just do the right thing anyway. So in 2004, I walked away from $50 million, and in November, I made a deal for $60 million. So, although I am not the most famous comedian of my time, I would like to know what their great-grandfathers did. I'm very proud today. Thank you very much.
How about Joaquin Phoenix? What y'all think about that? That was bad? All right, I watched that, and I watched that whole interview, and I said to myself, Joaquin Phoenix is a fucking genius. That was like the greatest press appearance I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, that shit was... Yeah, you saw it? Yeah. What'd you think? Why? He was so what? He was not, no, he wasn't stoned with it. Oh, listen, I've been high. He was in complete control of that situation. You understand? This is how brilliant it is. Basically, what he's doing is resisting every protocol of what it's like to be on a late night talk show. He didn't do any of the banter. He didn't do any of that, hey, good to be here, Dave. I got a new movie coming out. He didn't do any of that shit. He's a completely different kind of celebrity than I am. By design of what he does. He's a fine actor. So you don't know what he's like. Only time you see Joaquin Phoenix, he's in a movie pretending to be somebody completely different. And he's very good at it, so you can't tell what he's actually like. So this is the first time he ever stepped out in front of his work, and he was like, made a point not to be charming at all. How have you been? Good. What are you working on? Music. What kind of music? Hip hop. And then everybody laughed and he goes, is that funny? I said, this guy's a fucking genius. 10 minutes on Letterman, he was on every publication the next day. He was in USA Today. Look how crazy it is. Everyone was talking about, he's a fucking nut. He must have been high or something. Joaquin was probably reading that shit like, I said, this guy is fucking brilliant. And you know who the guest on after him was? Exactly. Who gives a fuck what happened after that? Joaquin won. Check and mate. I said, that's the Mel Gibson playbook right there. Mel Gibson beat the game. Easily. And a move so weird and abstract, I'm surprised no one's done it sooner. This motherfucker made an action movie about Jesus. Check and mate. There's no answer to that. This guy took 20 million of his own dollars, made an action movie about Jesus. And the movie grossed over $1 billion. He made $800 million off a $20 million investment. All in, he probably made close to $1 billion off a $20 million investment. Do you understand what that will do to your life? Do you understand how much money $1 billion personal dollars is? It can't. It's enough money to get pulled over by the police in LA County and jump out the car like, fucking Jews? What's poppin'? Is everything all right? Police like, you can't say that about the Jews. I can't. Base nigga, I'm in rehab. Game over. That had never happened before. And then followed that shit up with Apocalypto, which was fucking... That movie's great. Have you seen it? That shit is like Mexican Braveheart. That is the best shit I've ever seen in my life. I was talking like that for a week. Daga, 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 chop. Daga, chop. You wanna know why? Because he made a movie, a major studio movie. He didn't use one Hollywood actor in the entire movie. That's not cheap. That's amazing. He got indigenous people from the Yucatan to be in Hollywood. It's amazing. Can you imagine that shit? Just going to the Yucatan, Let alone going there to cast some movies, walking up to somebody in a thong. I got taga. Have you ever considered acting? Well, my name is Mel Gibson, and Passion of the Christ. I've seen that. I'm tell you right now, if I had a sketch comedy show, let me tell you right now, if I had a sketch comedy show, I guarantee you, I fucking guarantee you, I would do the funniest apocalypto sketch that you couldn't even fucking imagine what I would do. I got an angle on that shit. No, seriously. I got an angle on that shit that's so good, I'm like, nobody do that shit. Saturday Night Live, nobody would think of the shit that I would do. And it's so simple, it's right in the face. If I had a sketch comedy show, you know some funny shit me and my wife was talking about? This makes me laugh. You know that Beyonce song, she goes, if I was if I was a boy, you wouldn't understand. Now listen what she say. My wife say, you would never hear a man sing a song if I wasn't. She said some worse shit than that, but I won't tell you what she said. But that shit was really funny. If I was, we used to laugh. It should be, oh my goodness. You know, I do. How long have I been on stage? Like 25 minutes, 30 minutes? Seriously, how long do you think I've been up here?
Hour 20.
All right, one time I did a show, right? It's not too long ago, and I lost track of the time. I did 7.5 hours, right? I walked out of the comedy club, and Starbucks was open, the sun was up, everything. I'm not going to do that tonight. And the only reason I'm not going to do that is
Hello, xin chào tất cả mọi người. Chào mọi người đã quay trở lại với buổi review sản phẩm của em Lan ngày hôm nay nhé. Thì đối với sản phẩm ngày hôm nay em Lan đưa đến cho mọi người đó chính là một cái dòng sữa chua. Đây chính là một cái dòng gọi là sữa chua uống TH Chu Milk Gia Út đó. Thì đây là cái dòng sữa chua uống TH Chu Milk Gia Út, để chúng ta tìm hiểu xem là những cái dòng sữa chua khác thì nó khác với những cái dòng sữa chua TH Chu Milk này như thế nào. Thì sau đây chúng ta sẽ thông qua cái bài review sản phẩm của em ngày hôm nay để chúng ta có thể hiểu hơn về cái sữa chua uống Gia Út này nhé. Sữa chua uống TH Chu Gia Út này nhé. Thương hiệu TH Chu Milk ấy, có tốt không thì dù chỉ mới ra mắt thị trường vào năm 2010, thế nhưng thương hiệu sữa TH Chu Milk đã nhanh chóng tạo được cái dấu ấn mạnh mẽ. Chúng ta sẽ tạo được cái dấu ấn mạnh mẽ trong ngành sữa Việt Nam. Đấy, tạo được một cái dấu ấn mạnh mẽ trong ngành sữa Việt Nam. Bí quyết làm nên thành công của thương hiệu này chính là nguồn nguyên liệu hoàn toàn tươi sạch. và được thu hoạch từ trang trại bò sữa của TH. Đấy, mỗi một cái dòng sữa khác nhau thì người ta sẽ đầu tư một cái trang trại bò khác nhau nhé, với nhiều cái công nghệ khác nhau để chúng ta sẽ sản xuất ra được những cái hộp sữa thật là tươi mát nhé. Đấy, mọi người có thể thấy lông trại sữa Cool thì có lông trại bò sữa lớp Infam, còn lông trại của TH True Milk thì lại có lông trại của bò sữa của TH nhé. Không chỉ vậy thì TH True Milk là thương hiệu duy nhất tại Việt Nam mà áp dụng công nghệ thanh trùng ESR. Đấy, hiện đại và là theo tiêu chuẩn quốc tế tốt nhất. Đấy, là theo tiêu chuẩn quốc tế tốt nhất. Những lý do mà sữa TH True Milk, sữa TH True Yoghurt được các bé yêu thích. Đấy, lý do vì sao mà dòng sữa này lại được các bé yêu thích mình nhé. Những lý do sữa TH True Yoghurt được các bé yêu thích là vì vị thơm và béo hơn. Đấy là vị thơm và béo hơn. Đấy là một trong những cái mà đầu tiên mà các bé có thể yêu mến, yêu thích đến cái dòng sữa TH True Yoghurt này nhé. Một điều được nhiều phụ huynh công nhận rằng là các bé trong gia đình có thể không dùng hết một hộp sữa tươi tuyệt chủng 110 ml của các nhãn hàng khác, nhưng với sữa chua uống của TH True Yoghurt thì lại mang lại rất hào hứng, mang lại hào hứng và có thể uống hết được cái hộp sữa đấy nhé. Ít ngọt thì sữa tươi của TH True Yoghurt có vị ngọt dịu hơn. Đấy, dễ uống hơn, kể cả khi mà uống lạnh cũng không tạo cảm giác quá ngọt. Đấy, uống lạnh cũng không tạo cảm giác quá ngọt, khó uống. Đấy, chính là cái điều đấy nhé. Hẳn cũng vì thế mà các bé chịu uống hết được một sữa chua TH hộp dung tích 110. Đây là dung tích của nó là 110 ml nhé. Đấy, mọi người có thể thấy này. Và người lớn sợ ngọt, sợ béo thì cũng ưu tiên những cái dòng sữa của TH True Yoghurt này mỗi khi chúng ta lựa chọn nhé. Đấy. Bao bì thì bao bì đẹp và nhiều hương vị. Đối với cái dòng sữa chua TH True Yoghurt này thì có chi là nhiều gia vị cho chúng ta lựa chọn, các hương vị cho chúng ta lựa chọn nhé. Sữa chua TH True Yoghurt này thì được quảng bá là sữa sạch 100%. Đấy là một dòng sữa sạch 100%. Từ đàn bò chất lượng và những con bò giống đến cái quy trình chăn nuôi, đến cái quy trình mà chúng ta chăn nuôi, lấy sữa về và chế biến sữa. Đấy, chúng ta lấy sữa về như thế nào và chế biến sữa như thế nào thì chúng ta sẽ thông qua những cái tiêu chuẩn của ấy nhé. Trẻ nhỏ sẽ không chỉ chuộng sản phẩm vì bao bì quảng cáo mà còn phụ thuộc rất nhiều vào mùi và vị nữa nhé. Hiện tại thì sữa chua uống thì trùng TH True Yoghurt có 4 vị trái cây lên men tự nhiên. Đó chính là cùng là cam, dâu, việt quất và chuối. Đấy, cam, dâu, việt quất và chuối. Cam, dâu, việt quất và chuối. Cộng với cái nguồn lúa mạch của chúng ta nữa, cùng thiết kế bao bì thú vị và các hình ảnh các nhân vật trong bộ truyện tranh chinh phục vũ trụ thì dễ thương, sôi động và cuốn hút trẻ nhỏ nhiều hơn. Đấy chính là cái thông tin của sữa chua uống TH True Yoghurt đấy nhá. Đấy, mọi người có thể thấy được là như thế nào nha. Lên cho trẻ uống TH True, lên cho trẻ uống sữa TH True Yoghurt này như thế nào thì là hệ tiêu hóa của trẻ chưa được hoàn thiện và phát triển toàn diện. Thì khi dùng sữa khô tươi không thể hấp thụ được đầy đủ các chất dinh dưỡng lại gây hại lại cho sức khỏe. Thì do đó nếu mà muốn mẹ chỉ nên cho các trẻ bắt đầu sử dụng sữa tươi khi đủ 12 tháng thì chúng ta sẽ cho các bé sử dụng sữa tươi nhé. TH Chu Milk có dòng sữa mới là TH Chu Giáo như của chúng ta đang trình bày ngày hôm nay. Để với công thức dành cho trẻ từ 1 đến 6 tuổi, đấy, có nghĩa là trẻ cứ trên 1 tuổi thì chúng ta bắt đầu sử dụng được nhé. Vừa sử dụng với công thức Toki với thành phần 100% sữa tươi organic. Đấy, 100% là sữa tươi organic, được sản xuất và quản lý theo tiêu chuẩn ISO cái gì nhỉ? ISO 2000 cái gì ISO 2000 ấy. Em cũng không nhớ rõ nữa đâu. Nhằm đáp ứng tiêu chuẩn vệ sinh an toàn thực phẩm khắt khe. Đấy, nhằm đáp ứng về cái tiêu chuẩn vệ sinh an toàn thật là khắt khe. Thì theo Viện Hàn Lâm Hoa Kỳ, trong cái Viện Hàn Lâm Hoa Kỳ thì từ 1 đến 6 tuổi sẽ được cung cấp đầy đủ vitamin. Đấy, từ 1 đến 6 tuổi thì chúng ta sẽ được cung cấp đầy đủ các vitamin, vitamin D và hàm lượng canxi khi uống đủ 2 ly sữa mỗi ngày. Khi chúng ta uống đủ 2 ly sữa mỗi ngày là chúng ta đã cung cấp đủ cái nguồn canxi rồi nhé. Hãy tránh cho trẻ uống quá nhiều bởi sẽ khiến cơ thể của trẻ quá tải, không thể hấp thụ được. Đấy, từ các thực phẩm này trong ngày mẹ nhé. Chúng ta nên cho bé uống dần dần. Hiện tại thì dòng sữa TH Chu Giáo này thì hiện đã có mặt tại thị trường Việt Nam và bạn có thể tìm mua ở rất chi là nhiều cửa hàng phân phối của sữa Chu Giáo. Ví dụ như là của vùng của em ở trên huyện ấy thì cũng có cái cửa hàng bán sữa chua này rồi nhé. Đấy. Mọi người đây là một sản phẩm được sản xuất từ nguồn nguyên liệu hoàn toàn từ sữa, sữa tươi sạch nguyên chất và chất của trang trại TH. Đấy, sản phẩm này là bổ sung bộ vi chất dinh dưỡng chất lượng cao. Đấy, bổ sung dinh dưỡng chất lượng cao. Được tính toán khoa học, cung cấp bởi DSM là tổ chức dinh dưỡng thế giới hàng đầu được đặt tại Thụy Sĩ, giúp hỗ trợ tối ưu phát triển trí não và chiều cao của trẻ. Đấy là sữa chua đấy nhá. Hoàn toàn là từ sữa tươi sạch nguyên chất của nông trại TH rồi nhé. Và mỗi một cái dòng sữa thì sẽ có một cái nông trại khác nhau nha. Sản phẩm giàu dinh dưỡng với sự bổ sung của vitamin B này, B6 và B12. Đấy, và axit folic giúp hỗ trợ tối ưu sự phát triển trí não và chiều cao của trẻ. Sản phẩm thì thơm ngon với sự kết hợp giữa sữa tươi sạch, lên men tự nhiên với hương trái cây hoàn toàn tự nhiên luôn. Thức uống phải khác, có hương vị thơm ngon và dinh dưỡng bổ sung chất xơ hỏa tan rất tốt cho hệ tiêu hóa. Thì đấy là cái review về cái dòng sữa chua uống TH Chu Giáo này chứ. Thì bây giờ mọi người hãy cùng theo em những cái video tiếp theo nha. Bye bye.